We worked with a choreographer. In both movies, it was a choreographer, but we were free to come up with our own ridiculous moves.
Yeah.
Welcome to Watch Mojo, and today we're looking at instances from both Beetlejuice movies where the actors and crew went off script, not to mention off the wall.
A little gasoline, blowtorch, no problem.
Number 10, Beetlejuice's look, Beetlejuice. Aside from ad-libbing an estimated 90% of his dialogue, Michael Keaton helped devise everything from how Beetlejuice walks to his iconic appearance.
Hell, I'll possess myself if I gotta. Whoa! Yo, I got demons running all through me. Come on down here and see it.
Makeup artist V. Neal initially followed the character's original design. Tim Burton thought he looked too, quote, nasty, giving Neal freedom to whip up something original. Keaton contributed, feeling Beetlejuice's hair should look like he, quote, stuck his finger in an electrical socket, that he should be covered in mold since, quote, he lives under rocks, and that his nose should be broken.
I called him and said, I got an idea, and I don't know if it's gonna work or not, so let's just go do this thing.
The crew improvised the latter with fake lips, putting them on both sides of Keaton's nose. Keaton also asked the wardrobe department to send him costumes from random time periods. When Keaton walked on stage, Burton knew they were on the right track.
He said, yes, that, and let's do more of that.
Number 9, Justin Theroux as Rory, Beetlejuice. Returning to Beetlejuice 36 years later, Burton again gave the cast room to improvise. Justin Theroux took advantage of this as Rory, Lydia's sleazy boyfriend and producer.
Oh my God. I was helpfully getting some boxes in town, then I heard you screaming. Are you all right?
It was Delia.
Oh, dear.
Speaking with Burton on how to play the character, Theroux developed Rory into an overly emotional narcissist who acts like he's the main character in a soap opera. At the same time, Rory is a people pleaser who desperately wants validation from Lydia and Astrid, albeit for his own selfish reasons.
Well, with Tim, it's perfect because he immediately wanted me to, sort of deploy whatever I could on the character. In terms of sort of coming up with lines and things like that.
As over-the-top as Rory can be, Theroux and Burton wanted his codependent relationship with Lydia to feel believable. Beyond helping to mold the character's persona, Burton allowed Theroux to fill in the blanks that weren't on the print page, doing plenty of riffing on set.
He was gracious enough to let me sort of, scribble in the margins a little and improvise. So, we would, and then we obviously sort of found elements of the character that weren't necessarily there on the page, and he let me riff. So it was great.
Number 8, Waiting Room Epilogue, Beetlejuice. Beetlejuice almost had a much darker ending with Lydia dying. The shooting script discarded this idea, ending with Lydia's levitating dance.
Work, Sonora, work your body liner.
There were still several differences, however. Instead of coexisting, Charles and Delia would have moved away, letting the Maitlands raise Lydia. Most notably, Beetlejuice's final scene in the waiting room wasn't in the script. One possible ending would have seen Beetlejuice running away from the sandworm, although this was seemingly never shot. The filmmakers decided that the titular ghost needed a proper exit. They returned to the waiting room set where Beetlejuice tries to get ahead, but instead gets his head shrunk.
Whoa, hey, what are you doing? Hey, stop it!
Hey, you're messing up here! Come on! Whoa! Whoa! Stop it! Whoa! Hey, this might be a good look for me.
In addition to ensuring Beetlejuice will live on in death, this 11th hour edition gave Keaton one last chance to get nuts. Number 7, a Schitt's Creek nod, Beetlejuice. Like Michael Keaton, Catherine O'Hara proved to be a master of improv in both films. Reprising her role as Delia Dietz, O'Hara came up with several touches, rewriting parts of her speech at Charles's grave.
I did play with that speech. I rewrote the speech a bit.
In one of the sequel's happiest accidents, O'Hara leapt at the chance to channel Moira Rose. At her art gallery, Delia is seen wearing black and white, waving her arms. Behind her is a projection of crows.
Delia is so in her own world in this movie. Like, had nothing to do with the real story going on. What the heck?
Originally, different birds were to be used. When O'Hara realized the scene would feature crows, though, she asked Burton if he wanted her to flap her arms like a bird. She isn't sure if Burton got the reference, but O'Hara knew Schitt's Creek fans would notice a parallel to The Crows Have Eyes.
I don't know why, or really even how, but something about this actually works.
Number 6. Save that guy for later. Beetlejuice. Michael Keaton was so unpredictable in Beetlejuice that Alec Baldwin had a hard time keeping it together whenever they shared the screen.
Keaton amazed me.
One particular ad-lib nearly had Baldwin choking on his laughter. Seeking out a bio-exorcist, Adam and Barbara find themselves getting uncomfortably close to the ghost with the most. Between spouting several unscripted lines, Keaton spontaneously hawked a loogie into his jacket.
In order to do that, I'm really gonna have to get to know you guys. You know, we gotta get closer. Move in with you for a while. Get to be real pals. You know what I'm saying? Save that guy for later.
To top this off, Keaton said that he was saving it for later. This is where Baldwin lost it, which is presumably why the film subsequently cuts to another shot. While Baldwin thought this movie might ruin his career at one point, there's no denying that he laughed a lot on set. We wonder if Beetlejuice is still saving that loogie.
When we did Beetlejuice, I had no idea what it was about. I thought maybe all of our careers are going to end with the release of this film. We're all going to be dead.
Number 5. Jenna Ortega and Catherine O'Hara's dance moves. Beetlejuice, Beetlejuice. Beetlejuice, Beetlejuice naturally builds to a dance number, complete with lip syncing.
Tim also has such confidence in who he is that he was telling us, like, oh, it's fine, like, don't worry about it, don't worry about it.
And the choreographer was loose and open.
Yeah, the choreographer was so
fun.
sweet.
Yeah.
He was super collaborative.
Yeah.
Although choreographer Corey Baker and associate choreographer Chris George Scott oversaw the grand finale, they wanted it to feel improvised. As such, they encouraged cast members like Catherine O'Hara and Jenna Ortega to play around. The Wednesday star is no stranger to improvised dancing, although she felt less self-conscious having others to collaborate with. Burton didn't always know what Ortega and O'Hara had in store.
This one, I would say it was equally more embarrassing, but I was glad that other people were being dragged into it with me.
Right.
That is precisely why he wanted the cameras to keep rolling, letting them do whatever came to mind. While the finished scene is another instant classic, we're curious to see what dance moves might have been left on the cutting room floor.
Instead of going real musical moves, which they're in there too, but we agreed to do more to modern dance, you know, this kind of odd moves and to do those synchronized.
More performance art than anything.
The blooper reel for this sequel must not be buried. Number 4, Take You With Me, Beetlejuice. Catherine O'Hara ad-libbed arguably Delia's most memorable line from the first movie. Arriving at their new home in Winter River, Delia wastes no time redecorating.
Delia,
You're right.
let's get one thing straight.
You're right.
We're here to enjoy the country setting, not to trash the place.
You're right.
When Charles confronts her, Delia puts him in his place with her sharp tongue. Delia might be Charles's wife, but she is an artist first and foremost. Taking away her freedom of expression will send Delia on a one-way street to insanity.
I will live with you in this hellhole, but I must express myself. If you don't let me gut out this house and make it my own, I will go insane and I will take you with me!
You had better believe that she will drag Charles along for the ride. Although the line itself is funny and relatable, the way O'Hara delivers it leaves us to wonder if Delia is already going insane. Originally, Delia was going to say, quote, "The woman who lived here had the aesthetic instincts of Betty Crocker, hence why Barbara wanted to, quote, get her."
The way you deliver that is such a choice.
Because it's my line.
Is that true?
Yeah.
So that was an improv? That was something you came
I
up
don't know,
with?
it was improv or I said, Tim, what about this? You know?
Amazing.
Yeah.
Number 3, nice model, Beetlejuice. You gotta miss the good old days when a PG movie could get away with one F-bomb. Declining Beetlejuice's services, Barbara and Adam head home.
Adam, we have to get out of here.
I agree, but I'll fix something to eat.
The script then reads as follows. Beetlejuice walks to a tree and kicks it hard. The whole huge tree falls, kabloom. That's essentially how it plays out in the film. Although, Michael Keaton added one more line and gesture that left every parent questioning how family-friendly this film truly is.
You're working with a professional here! Nice f***ing model!
Within the context of the film, Beetlejuice is addressing Adam, who built the model. Behind the scenes, though, it's been rumored that Keaton was addressing the people who built the set. In any case, Burton was compelled to keep the profanity in, throwing in a honking sound effect for good measure. Number 2, Deo, Beetlejuice. It is impossible to imagine the dinner scene without Deo, but the Banana Boat song wasn't always going to be featured in the movie.
Daylight come and me want go.
In the screenplay, Delia, Charles, and their guest break out uncontrollably singing If I Didn't Care, an Ink Spot song. When A Man Loves a Woman was suggested as an alternative, But Catherine O'Hara and Jeffrey Jones felt that calypso music would be a better fit for the scene.
6 foot, 7 foot, 8 foot punch. Daylight come and we want to go home.
The crew just so happened to have a cassette with the Harry Belafonte song, which reportedly wasn't expensive to license. Just as the musical choice was a late addition, the dancing was kept spontaneous. O'Hara told Entertainment Weekly, quote, "We had a choreographer, but we all got to add our stupid moves." Before we unveil our top pick, here are a few other moments that weren't in the shooting script. Beetlejuice's introduction. Beetlejuice. The filmmakers scrapped the scripted intro with Beetlejuice puppeteering a corpse.
Babs. Boy, do you know how to pick 'em. Let me ask you something. Is this relationship really solid?
Ghost with the most. Beetlejuice. Beetlejuice was going to call himself a high spirit.
Are you a ghost too?
I'm the ghost with the most, babe.
A little late to be neurotic. Beetlejuice. Delia's original line here was one of those shrimp dropped down my kamali.
I think the reason is that they were trying to scare you away and you didn't get scared.
Please, they're dead. It's a little late to be neurotic.
Ring finger. Beetlejuice. Funny how this came back in the sequel.
There you go. I'm telling you, honey, she meant nothing to me. Nothing at all.
It's showtime. Beetlejuice. It was written as a direction, but not as a line.
It's showtime.
Before we continue, be sure to subscribe to our channel and ring the bell to get notified about our latest videos. You have the option to be notified for occasional videos or all of them. If you're on your phone, make sure you go into your settings and switch on notifications. Number 1. Qualifications. Beetlejuice. Although it's become common knowledge among cinema fans, it's still surprising that Michael Keaton is only on screen for about 17 minutes.
Am I overstepped my bounds? Just tell me. Come on.
If they shot the script word for word, Beetlejuice might have had even less screen time. The scene where Beetlejuice officially meets the Maitlands goes by quickly in the screenplay. Keaton contributed an assortment of jokes and alternative lines.
What are your qualifications?
Well, I attended Juilliard. I'm a graduate of the Harvard Business School. I travel quite extensively. I lived through the Black Plague, and I had a pretty good time during that.
In Keaton's most extensive unscripted moment, he goes into Beetlejuice's backstory, claiming to be a student of Juilliard and Harvard. While we have a hard time believing that, the sequel would confirm he did indeed live through the Black Plague, and it was a good time, for a while. Much like The Exorcist, this improvised monologue keeps getting funnier every time we see it.
Not to mention the fact that you're talking to a dead guy. Now what do you think?
You think I'm qualified?
Do you have any behind-the-scenes trivia about the Beetlejuice movies? Let us know in the comments.
What isn't in the script?
Did you enjoy this video? Check out these other clips from WatchMojo, and be sure to subscribe and ring the bell to be notified about our latest videos.